Happy Survivor Wednesday to all of my tribe mates. We had 2 tribals, 2 blind sides, and PB&J to top it all off. Don't click away.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, AfterBuzz.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back to
Every time I'm gone for a week, I feel like something's new. Does Josh always play these like crazy lights?
Yes.
Wow.
You just don't pay attention enough.
Not
Welcome
at
to
all.
the Survivor After Show, where we clearly don't pay attention. That is a lie. We pay attention a lot because we love this show and we definitely want to talk about it. I'm Veronica, Valencia, and joining me to my left is Mr. Mike Thieling.
You just found out my middle name today.
Michael George Thieling.
It is George, yeah. My parents not a fan of George Michael whatsoever. It's just my dad's first name.
So they like George Michael.
No.
That's what you're saying.
My dad's name is George, so my middle name is George. What's up, guys? I'm back. I know I missed a lot last week.
Yeah.
But glad to be back with you guys now today.
Mm-hmm. Coming up in this episode, we're obviously be talking all about the post-tribal, kind of how we go about after coming off of last episode. We're going to be talking all about this new immunity, the rewards on rewards. We had 2 tribals, we had 2 blind sides, and they got a little PB and jelly. Yeah, PB and jelly, they got a snack. And yeah, we're going to be talking about all that happened. We're also going to be talking about some news today, just kind of things that have come out since the last episode, and that's kind of where we will put our final comments on that. But before we get into any of that, Mike.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Fairly dull episode, I thought. I really liked that they switched it up, and I think as far as my recollection, Veronica, the Survivor Encyclopedia, will correct me, or one of our friends here in the chat. I liked that. I think this was the first time where after Emerge, they kind of re-tribalized everybody and kind of separated them and made them vote individually, 2 different groups. I really like that. I thought that was going to be very cool. Of course, I like the blind sides. I like that excitement. But overall, in general, kind of boring challenge and,
Yeah, I agree. I think in terms of gameplay, the gameplay this episode was much better, at least, than last episode. Because, last episode, I don't like the challenge or the Island of the Idols. I thought that was dull. Kelly going home with 2 idols
Not
in her
even
pocket.
dull. That was terrible. The Island of the Idols last
yeah.
week was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so bad they didn't do it this week.
Yeah, so that they didn't do this week. From a game point stand of view, this episode was much better in that I think the contestants made very smart decisions. They made decisions that I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I would probably do that too.
Really interesting strategy this week, but because it was separated into 2 groups, we don't actually get to go as in-depth as we usually can when it's just one group of people making these decisions. However, I always wonder this stuff. Let us know in the chat what you guys think, and tell me what you think, V squared.
Yes.
I like to think that sometimes producers make these decisions on the fly. Crazy stuff happened within the last week, right? Within the last 3 days, a lot of stuff. Do they ever see somebody really on the bottom like Karishma or something like that? Do they ever see the game not going exactly how they want? So do they throw in these kind of twists where, okay, now we're going to separate them into 2 groups?
Oh, yeah. I definitely...
You think it's completely on the fly?
I think that they definitely do stuff like that on the fly because it forces them to shake up the game. Because here's the thing, the way that this season was going, it seemed like people were very much just kind of going by the numbers. They were like, okay, we're going to go with who's on the bottom. We're going to vote out second who was on the bottom. Now we're going to go third who on the bottom. Because before this separation in tribes, Karishma was on the bottom, and it seemed like everyone was really for voting out Karishma. And what a nice twist like this does, it forces people to work with people maybe who they wouldn't normally work with, and it tries to shake up the game in that sense. So I totally think that they do this stuff on the fly just to make the game more interesting, because no one wants to. We've seen seasons where people really just go by the numbers and it's dull.
It gets boring until the last 6 people or something like that, where they kind of have to eat their own. Of course, everybody in the chat correcting us. The previous seasons where they've done this already. Well, luckily for me, I don't remember back to season 16 specifically. So to me, this is kind of new.
This happened in Micronesia?
Oh, hang on. Let me scroll back
Someone
real
said
quick.
Ghost
Sorry,
Island.
everybody just listening. Ghost Island in Fiji back in season 14. Ghost Island in kind of Fiji. So, okay, they kind of done this. I forgot about it, so it was new to me.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't remember it either. I like to think I know a lot about stuff, but I don't remember that. So yeah, thanks for letting us know. All right, let's go into our post-tribal. So yeah, we basically kind of get a little idea of coming off of last week where Janet, last week Janet was really considering quitting, but this week, or after coming back from tribal, she really has this idea like she's not going to quit. She needs to do it for her family. And good on her. She should not quit.
Shouldn't quit.
No. She's also one of my favorites right now, so she really should not quit.
100%.
And now let's get into Nora, because we got a little bit of Nora, and my initial reaction with Nora. So yeah, basically she's very fed up with Karishma, because in her eyes, Karishma doesn't add value to the tribe. She doesn't, go get coconut. She doesn't start a fire.
Sure.
She's lazy.
Stuff we basically have been saying since the first episode.
And here's the thing. I completely understand that, everyone probably wants everyone to play their part when they're working on the show, when they're working in their tribes. So I get the frustration that they are probably feeling that someone is just not picking up their own weight. However, Nora needed to calm down for me.
Nora has little to no filter. I was amazed last week when she completely outed Kelly as being the one who told her to vote. Just, at some point, you've got to be able to be a trustworthy person. And I don't know if there's anybody on these tribes who 100% trusts Nora, who thinks I can go to her one-on-one, tell her some kind of secret, make some special alliance or anything like that on the side, and have that actual connection, and that she won't go and blow up their entire game. Because if it comes to her mouth, she says it. It's an admirable, to some extent, way to be in real life, but on Survivor, it doesn't do you a lot of favors if you're not selective with the information that you're putting out. And putting, Karishma on blast like that, kind of even in front of people, it's tipping your hand big time to her, as if she didn't kind of already know she was on the bottom, but it's really just kind of putting her down.
Oh yeah, it was really putting her down, and I don't think she needed to be that aggressive in how she was handling the situation. And no, I agree with you, Mike, in that I don't know how Nora can find trust with people, because she is quick to give up information, especially like what we said with giving up the information of how Kelly told her to vote. But I do think some people did have trust in Karishma. Some people, not Karishma, excuse me, did have trust in Nora because they did want to work with her. Like I think Jamal played an idol for her. So clearly there was some kind of trust and relationship there.
Jamal had a lot of integrity. So Jamal was really trying to keep his small alliance together, which I think to their detriment included Nora, because that whole thing blew up at that tribal council with her basically saying she didn't trust him. And his playing of his idol for her was in reaction to saying, you can trust me. Even that small act of her doing that, you think, what are you doing? What purpose is this? How is this advancing your game? And I just think she is still around almost in spite of herself and all the things she said and done. I think she's somewhat lucky to still be here.
I think it's interesting that you say she's lucky to be here, because this season we have seen kind of who the obvious goats are of this season, or at least who has been labeled as the goat. One of them is Nora, probably because people don't find her trustworthy, and the other is Karishma, just because of everything that they've been saying, how they need her to do more within the tribe. Now, it's interesting when it comes to a goat, because I feel like as a contestant, you don't want to be labeled as a goat, because then you feel, oh, people are only bringing me because they think that they can beat me, and you don't want to feel like you are easily beat.
Right.
However, do you think being labeled a goat can be a good thing?
Sure, it can, especially if you are truly making some moves on the side, subtly, kind of behind the scenes, that enough people know about. So if you're having enough private one-on-one conversations, look, you got to get to the end one way or the other. Being labeled a goat and being taken along to the end is fine if you've got something to back it up.
Yes.
Otherwise, then you're kind of just playing for third place. If you're playing super strong and you're a crazy threat, seemingly like Jamal, you're going to get voted out for that. So it'll get you to the end, but just being a goat is not going to let you win. So I think you got to float somewhere in the middle. It's a really tough finesse kind of thing to do. Plus, there's so many other elements that go into it. You've got to win challenges. You've got to win when it counts. You got to win immunity when it counts. So being labeled a GOAT is probably good because you're less on people's radars to be voted out. But that's not going to win you the game.
I agree. If you are labeled the GOAT, then you have this idea of like, okay, you're going to be taken further than maybe someone else just based on that label. And you can really use that to turn the game around in your favor. But like you said, Mike, you need to be able to kind of make some subtle moves. You know, you never want to see yourself in a power position if you want to use that label to your advantage.
So Sloss Pop 112 says Karishma knew she was a GOAT and uses it to an advantage to find the idol.
That was what we were saying, yeah. To find the idol, though.
Not that point. She found the idol by chance.
By chance,
because Nora made her get coconuts. I don't think her finding the idol was strategy. Good on her for, if they're going to put me down, I might as well look for it. So, yeah, it was a good side thing, but I don't see Karishma out there every day looking for idols, really trying to find it, whatever. I think she definitely took advantage of the spot she was at when Nora kind of put her down, I guess.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying too. In terms of the idol, I think she stumbled upon the idol by chance, but I think, and we'll talk about this more once we kind of get into the post-immunity and tribal, where I feel Karishma really did kind of use that label to her advantage to kind of take control of her own game. And we'll definitely talk more about that when we get to those points. But for right now, let's go into immunity. And I know I just said let's go into immunity, but before we go into immunity, let's give our tribe mates a little something to listen to.
I just wanted to see how you were going to transition that.
I don't know. I was trying so hard.
Guys, in this episode, okay, all of our survivors got split into 2 different groups. But here, you don't have to be split into any groups on AfterBuzz. You can be a part of every single tribe across all the different shows that we cover and all of the different YouTube channels. Because, here at AfterBuzz TV, we cover all the different shows, all the genres that you guys love to watch. If you watch the show, we have an after show for it. So we want to thank you guys so much. You are our extended panel. If you're watching on YouTube, give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe to all our YouTube channels. If you're listening to us on iTunes or any of your favorite podcasting services, give me a big 5-star review. Leave us some notes in the comments. Let us know you did so I can shout you out, like Nathan, Sheena, Nathan again, Chels, Eric, of course, Raven. Let's scroll up. Trev, Joseph Boza, Raven again. Eric, you guys are just commenting too much. I don't see anybody else, but we love all of you in the chat. We thank you all so much for making AfterBuzz TV the ESPN of TV talk.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Thank you, Mike, for that lovely announcement.
Thank you, V Squared.
Thank you for Survivor.
Thank you, Josh, for the ding. Producer Josh.
Hey, Josh.
He can talk.
Is he going to?
Maybe later.
Sorry.
Maybe
Hey!
Okay.
Was not prepared.
Disembodied voice.
And now let's go into immunity, which this was, like I said, probably the most interesting part of the, what was that, a shake weight? That's basically what this challenge was.
It looks like 2 shake weights when I don't have anything. Yeah, exactly.
I did like this challenge where they were basically pulled, like we were saying, they were put into 2 tribes, and so we were going to have 2 people safe, 2 eliminations.
The ball and donut challenge.
But not only were we going to have that, the winner got to but the winner got to go to tribal last, so they got to see the outcome of the first tribal, and the winner, whoever lasted longest, which Nora messed up, would get peanut butter and jelly. So let's talk about this challenge. Did you like this kind of shakeup? This twist in the challenge?
Yeah, I think it's neat. Something different. Anything. Yeah. Fun.
No, I agree. I think it was fun. I think it definitely, like I said, it switched things up.
Adds a new element of strategy completely. Mm-hmm. It throws them off. I like to think it's a last minute kind of call from the producers. Like, how can we mess with these people? It looks like they're just going down one alley. Okay, cool. Let's split them up. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. I mean, you could even, maybe it's probably very arbitrary, but you can also.
That's awesome.
What?
Sorry. I didn't know we had a little Maria Menounos graphic to come over and say subscribe and stuff. That's super cool, Josh. You just do that manually?
No, it's in all our studios.
I love it. So cool.
Sorry,
I'm amazed. Guys, I'm amazed every time I come to AfterBuzz. I'm just amazed at the advances week to week we do.
That's it, what I was going to say. So you did find out something new today.
Every day.
Every day.
Try to learn something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
Throw you off. Yes, I love it when they do these kind of things. I like it getting messed up in the challenges. I like the strategy that it's going to make separating them in. They don't know, which groups they're going to be separated into.
Awesome. What I was going to say is, although it might be arbitrary, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, but it was an uneven group of people. It was 5 on one tribe, 6 on the other tribe. So
Well, it can't not be uneven, right? Well, I guess you could do like 4 and 8 or something.
I'm saying if it was planned, maybe they would have done it so that it was an even split.
Got it. Yeah.
But to prove to the point that maybe it was kind of a spur of the moment thing, they have uneven tribes.
Maybe. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But no, I agree. I liked this. It definitely switched things up. I was so curious to see who would be working with who. So on Orange, we had Missy, Tommy, Elizabeth, Elaine, and Karishma. And then on Purple, we had Nora, Dan, Dean, Janet, Lauren, and Aaron. And then we had Elaine win immunity for the Orange and Nora winning immunity for the Purple. But like I said, Nora, here's the, and Mike, you brought this up when we were watching this. When you win immunity on Survivor, granted, I have not experienced this, but I can only assume you have this great energy and desire to celebrate.
Yep.
So I do get the idea that maybe Nora got lost in the moment. But But someone should have told her, someone should have let her know that she needs to hang in there for the benefit of the tribe.
1,000%. This is just so unfortunate for her. It wasn't that she really had to stop twirling her ball around the donut thing. She won. She got excited. She threw it down. Great. Yeah, tough, because to be fair, if I was there and part of the tribe, I probably would have forgotten too. I honestly forgot too while I was watching.
I totally forgot.
I'm sure they forgot sitting down to be like, don't stop, win peanut butter and jelly. It's just unfortunate and silly. But then the reaction, someone called her stupid or saying, someone said so stupid. Maybe not calling her stupid, but the fact that she didn't keep going, whatever, but someone said so stupid, and the kind of disappointment. Yeah, I forgot watching too. And I'm sure she just forgot. You're concentrating in the moment. You win. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So somebody should have reminded.
Yeah.
If they were thinking about it.
I'm sure that the majority of them forgot, but once they were reminded by Jeff, it was like, oh, now I'm mad. But it's like, you probably forgot too. So.
Chell said someone screamed it. I don't know.
Oh. Yeah. I did not even catch that. So that's Thank you for
Thomas
pointing
said,
that out.
I don't think there was time. She quit seconds after winning. Yeah, it's probably true. I just think it was a kind of automatic reaction. It's unfortunate.
For sure.
But also didn't make too big a deal out of it. Just
it was peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Now if it was Applebee's.
Oh, yeah, if it was Applebee's, forget it. Or Outback.
Or Outback.
Any of our sponsors.
If I was promised a Sprint phone.
Oh, a Sprint call home? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, then I would be mad. But yeah, this was a fun immunity just to try and switch things up. We see who wins, and now we kind of go into post-immunity. So now this is kind of where things get a little rushed because we have two post-tribals we kind of need to see strategizing for, and then 2 tribals. So going into post-immunity is kind of Purple. So here's another thing is like they split the tribes up. So the Purple group had to go back to Lyra, so it's like they could have their own individual conversations. But let's talk about the Purple tribe first, since they are the ones that go to tribal first.
Sure.
Basically, everyone thinks that it should be Janet.
Yep.
Logically, looking at it from a game point perspective, Janet doesn't make sense.
It kind of does. It kind of does from last episode. She was kind of on the bottom. She really... Someone correct me if I'm wrong, the way the votes tallied. If she hadn't played her immunity, I think she would have gone home.
No, she only had like 2 votes against her.
Okay, she was still okay, sorry. But she obviously felt that she was in the bottom. Just the fact that they play an immunity idol leads everybody else usually in the tribe to think, okay, they know they're on the bottom, we should get them out. Kind of an easy vote. Again, we can go back to the stereotype. She's an older woman. They usually get voted out, and she was part of this controversy. Maybe they still think that Dan has ill feet. I understand why she's an obvious vote to them. Not a good vote, but an obvious, easy vote to them.
That's true. To them, I can see why it would be the simple vote because she was previously on the bottom.
Yeah.
And she is a very likable person. I feel like they've used a lot of likable this season in terms of like they're coming up to get rid of someone, like not as much as like, oh, physical threat or whatever. I've heard the term social threat a lot. We've heard it with Elaine. We've heard it with Janet. heard it tonight with Kelly. I've heard social threat being used a lot in this season, and it's true for Janet.
I just want to shout out some of our friends in the chat here. Desiree, and I saw a couple other people talking about former challenges that they wish were brought back. I know this is way off topic, but I saw it so fun. I would love it if they would bring back the auction.
Yes.
That was super fun. I want some gross eating challenges back. I want some like old school Survivor challenges back as well. The ball and the donut thing doesn't really do it for me. The Survivor auction was super fun.
It was always fun.
There's some great stuff. You guys rock. We love you Survivor historians in our chat.
The last time I think I saw the Survivor auction was season 30, which was white collar, no collar, blue collar.
Sure.
Whatever that was the last time I saw it. But guys, when was the last time we had a Survivor auction? That's just the last time I remember it.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyway.
Yes,
Janet. You're absolutely right. We're seeing a lot more social game targets this season rather than physical. And it makes sense. It's tough for us to armchair quarterback, right? What they're going through and what they're seeing while they're playing the game. You like to think that a lot of these people have watched most of the seasons. They kind of know what's going on. If they see just from a social perspective, Veronica, she's going to crush it at a final tribal. There's no way I could out-talk her. Let's get her out now. It's honestly just as valuable a reason to get somebody else out than a physical threat. So you can understand it with Janet too. But like we said, and kind of like how we see, not actually a really smart vote.
But they did make the smart vote because they chose to go put their votes on Aaron. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk kind of about the strategy for purple and then go into the tribal purple. And then we'll talk strategy for orange and then go into the tribal of orange.
Well, you and I said right from the beginning, if we're looking to get off threats, it's Aaron. As soon as they lined up for that next immunity, you and I both said this guy's going to keep winning solo immunity challenges because he's a beast. He's a big dude. He's strong. He's smart. He's a huge threat. They should be going after him.
They should. He's won the last 2 individual challenges. This was their opportunity to get him out. And I am happy to see that they took that opportunity. From a gameplay standpoint, they made what I would say was a smart decision.
Yep.
Was Janet an easy target for them? Sure. But I think they really needed to seize the opportunity, and they did by voting out Aaron.
Aaron, much more likely to win individual immunity challenges and be a threat going forward, I think, than Janet. I think Janet, if you're looking at it from that way, Janet's probably an easier vote later. She's much less of a threat to you. Sometimes you got to strike when the iron's hot.
You do, and they definitely did. So I'm glad that they did do that. There wasn't a moment where I doubted that I really thought Janet was going home. I thought the voting this episode did feel pretty straightforward. Like, there wasn't a doubt in my mind where I was like, it has to be Aaron. It has to be Missy.
Yeah, well, like for once this season. This is like the one time we've gone into tribal saying, I'm pretty sure I know who's going home, versus especially at least up until last week, every single thing was a blindside to the audience. So, yeah.
This was the first time where it was a blindside to them, but I was like, I'm pretty confident who I think I know is going home. So purple made the smart, what I would say, logical choice on who they decided to vote out, and that was pretty overwhelming as well. It was 5-1. So Aaron was the only one who voted for Janet.
I'm going to interrupt you again because we've got time. You guys in the chat today are on fire. Raven, we're talking about a lot of the old school people that they miss. Yes. I don't know, my heart is just going out and I just want to say it. I miss Suri, Yao-Man, Spencer. Man. So let's just interrupt this regularly scheduled program real quick. Do we know for sure the makeup of next season of 40?
No.
We don't. I really want it to be
it's going to be an all-star
crazy
season.
all-star winner season. I want to see some of these people back. I want to see Suri play again. Oh, yes. Gosh.
It's definitely going to be
you guys are right on. Anyway, sorry.
I do miss Yao-Man.
Yao-Man was amazing. I was just telling the story of Yao-Man in Dreams again the other day. And I was so mad. Little Mike, when I was watching that episode, I guess I wasn't that little. Little Mike, younger Mike, when I was watching that, and Yao-Man won the car. Right?
Oh my gosh,
and said, Dreams, how bad do you need the car? And Dreams was like, you know how bad I need it. And he just gave it to him. I never understood why he didn't say, okay, if you give me immunity next, I will give you the car. Why do you give the car without getting something for sure in return.
Because Yao Man was just trying to do a really good thing because he has a really good heart and...
He wanted immunity. He wanted immunity. I feel like he should have kept it and only given it if he actually got... Who knows if Dreams ever actually really got the car. But I'm just saying, I was always upset. I was like, Yao Man, no, don't give it up right away. Anyway, sorry. Back to season 39.
Jumping all the way back to season 14. Let's go back to 39.
But put in the chat, guys. What do you guys think? Because you watched a lot of these seasons back to back more recently. Is it just nostalgia, or were a lot of the older seasons seemingly better?
I'm gonna interrupt your talk right now because some people in the chat are saying Survivor 40 is an all-winner season and the prize is $2 million.
Let's go. I said season 40. They totally took this idea from me.
Let's save all this for predictions.
I said season 40 should be winners from around the world. Okay, go.
Let's save it for predictions and we can talk about season 40.
Is it nostalgia that older seasons were better? I feel like I look at stuff like Yao Man and Spencer and, origins of fake idols and things like that, Dreams, like all those players with, maybe it's rose-colored glasses, but with more fonder memories than I think I will look back upon,
It's because they were the players who molded Survivor.
It's got to be that. It's got to be that.
Nostalgia. Before we move on to the Orange Tribe, I do want to kind of just point out Dean's comment where he was saying he didn't want to get rid of Aaron because if Aaron was gone, then he would be the target. Which I want to get your opinion on this because Dean has been on the bottom, but I wouldn't say because he was like a super physical threat the way he's thinking.
I agree. I don't see it that way. I don't think he's being a braggart or whatever. I think he honestly thinks that, but it's not coming through, and maybe I'm just not paying enough attention, but it doesn't seem that way in challenges. It doesn't seem that way in social gameplay. We said, both of us, Tommy and Dean, kind of forgettable right now a little bit. I definitely forget that Dean's there. The most excited thing I had going with Dean was his secret pre-relationship with Kelly that I was kind of interested to see them keep working, and of course that gets partly because of Dean, that gets messed up. So I don't see it that way. I don't see him as this next big physical threat out, especially after Aaron.
No, I didn't see that either. I could see him being on the bottom. I can understand why he would think he was at risk because he was at the bottom so much early on pre-merge. I would not necessarily classify him as a physical threat. I think that there are obviously people who could beat him in individual challenges. He could surprise us. You never know what challenge someone is going to be good at, and he very well could surprise us. But at this moment, I don't think he was as much of a threat as he thought he was. But I do see that. I do see why he would say that,
and certainly not in these kind of instances in previous seasons where someone has legitimately said, I can't vote this person out because then they're definitely coming for me. Previous times we've seen this, it's very obvious and very evident that that's true. Mm-hmm. So it didn't just feel that in my gut. It didn't feel that way.
Now let's go on to the Orange Tribe. So this one was kind of a more interesting vote in the sense that there were 5 people, and we had 2 solid votes with Karishma in the middle.
Maybe the producers did it like this.
But then, what if it was a random draw?
Was it a random? I completely glossed over that. Was it a random draw?
I always assume it's a random draw.
I don't know. Did we see that it was a random draw?
Guys, was it a random draw? I just always assume it's a random draw.
Was Veronica and I watching the show today?
Who even knows?
We did. I don't know. Let's tinfoil hat it up. There's a conspiracy theory. They made Karishma the swing vote on purpose to get some excitement going on. I don't know.
There's just been a lot of Survivor to process.
It's a lot.
There's been a lot. So, but yeah, I liked this. I thought it was interesting because, Karishma has been, at the very bottom. And I liked that this was her opportunity to take the game in her hands. I agree with her in that, when no one wants to be talked at. Someone wants to have a 50-50 chance of working with someone. You don't always want to be the person that's like, oh, go along with whatever you say. If you find yourself super at the bottom and you are aware of that, then sure, maybe you'll go along with it. But I think Karishma has found herself at the bottom enough now, and she sees, oh, people need my vote. Are you crying?
No.
You just have water in your eyes. So.
Okay. No, I'm good.
I'm moving you with my speech here.
Yeah, I was getting ready for a Mike Survivor tip.
Oh, okay. What's your Mike Survivor tip?
Oh, it was specifically about this little confrontation.
Yeah.
I don't think Missy's a very alpha type person. She's very forward as well. I don't think she meant anything by the way she was talking to Karishma. Karishma obviously took it that way. We've been kind of vocal about not liking Karishma too much from a gameplay perspective. I didn't like how Karishma responded to it. She knows she's on the bottom. This was olive branch, easily. I don't know. She just had this immediate gut reaction of wanting to go away and like, and whatever, and just completely shutting Missy out right there and then.
I thought
that was really dangerous and a really bad move. If someone's coming to you with an olive branch and you know you're on the bottom, Missy had no need to do that if it wasn't sincere.
Here's the thing.
At least you take that.
Although it seems very obvious that that is an olive branch because Karishma has been known to be at the bottom for so long, how does she know that? I think her reaction was just took us by surprise because we don't see that type of reaction. Like, we can see someone being like, oh, yeah, I'll totally go along with you. And then they're in confessional. They'll be like, I don't know if I can trust them. I'm going to go talk to so-and-so. Whereas Karishma was just very, very direct with her reaction. She was just like, I'm just going to be very expressive.
But that's what I don't like. I like the first scenario that you just said. Oh, great. Okay, absolutely. I'm open to accepting. And then confessional. I don't believe a word Missy's saying. I'm going to go talk to these other people. I just think you put unnecessary heat on yourself when you act like that because then Missy's upset the rest of the thing. And who knows? Your reaction right there could completely change Missy's opinion.
Exactly.
And now they are going to get you out. Well, okay, now I really can't trust you when I tried. I just think it's a terrible move. I feel like Survivor, Mike's tip, here you go. You got to accept all the alliances coming to you, at least at face value. You don't turn anybody away right off the bat like that. It never works out. I mean, I guess it worked out tonight. But I think Karishma has been very lucky in the scenarios that have gotten set up around her.
Yeah, I think Karishma... It's like you said, Mike. I think with Karishma, she could have, with how she reacted, again, anything in this game can have you sent home. And I think the way she reacted could have very well, like you said, Mike, had Missy change her mind and be like, well, I can't trust Karishma now. I was trying to work with her. I can't work with her. So I just need to get her out.
Right.
There's still a very high chance that, Missy still could have gone home because Karishma could have gone to Tommy and Elaine like she did and say, oh, they're throwing out your name, Tommy, kind of thing.
Right.
So even if Missy did want to send Karishma home, there's still a chance Missy could have gone home. But it is that extra factor of, oh, this could jeopardize my game. It's hard. It's hard to always have the game first and to really be conscientious of how you act, of what you say, of what you do.
Right.
But yeah. But yeah. And so we get this, and kind of like what you were saying, Mike, how Missy is she has a very forward personality. She's very blunt. She's very straight to the point. And she's someone who probably likes control, like type A alpha, like you said. But she does have this moment where she is apologizing to Karishma. Obviously, probably she wants to work with her. What did you think? I thought it was a sincere apology.
No. My gut in that moment was that Missy is using Karishma as a tool to get further and to get out Tommy, which is what they actually thought. Because you see in Missy's confessional, she said, yeah, whatever, Karishma, I'll hug you, blah, 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 whatever. So that genuineness just got killed for me right in that moment. Because she said that just in her private thing. Basically like, yeah, whatever you need, let's make up, I'll hug you, blah, 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 whatever. I don't buy it. I don't buy the apology.
I think if it was more sincere, she probably could have worked with Karishma.
Maybe.
In that moment, I think it's important to be sincere. If you have a swing vote like Karishma, it's important to try and be sincere so that you can lock that in and have someone you can trust and work with later on in the game.
It's interesting that that you say that because to Missy, Karishma's not a swing vote. Remember, Missy thinks Elaine is on her side. Right? Oh. So she's so surprised at the end that Elaine was the one who flipped. So she doesn't even think Karishma's a swing vote. I think she just wants it to be unanimous and just to assure that it goes that way to Tommy.
That's a good point. And now we go to... This was with Aaron, I felt it was very obvious. Did you think Missy was going home, or did you think there was a chance it would be Tommy? Because here's the thing.
I thought it was a coin flip. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah.
No, because here's my thing. This was another piece of gameplay where I'm like, this is a smart move. Missy is a threat, and she also is in a strong twosome with Elizabeth. Tommy, I think, has all the potential to be a threat right now. He's playing a quiet game, but you get him to the end, and I think he'll be very strong. He also has a very strong relationship with Lauren, and that's a pair right there. Either way, you get out Tommy, you get out Missy. Either way, you're getting rid of a threat, and you're splitting up a pair, which is always important.
I think Karishma needs to go with her gut on this. As we said, we've kind of been bagging on her a little bit this season. I think it's fair to say a lot of our friends in the chat have too. She hasn't been the best player. She finally took some energy, right? She took some gumption. She knew she was a swing vote, so good. Do something strong with it. And I think she needed to go with her gut. Okay, does Missy see me on the bottom of the pile? And how do I stack up with Tommy? And in that moment, she must just say, look, in Missy's group, Missy is saying keep the women strong, but I feel like I'm on the bottom of that group. I think I got a better shot with Tommy. My gut from just the stuff that we saw, I think she made the right choice. I think Missy's a super big physical threat. Her social game, I think, is on point because I don't think everybody's seeing her assertiveness as a negative in general, right? Aside from Karishma. So I think she's got a really well-rounded game. She's a threat, just like Aaron.
Yeah. And I think Karishma, like you said, made a wise vote for her game. And yeah, in the beginning, Karishma, it took her some time to kind of figure out the game. She wasn't making what would be the smartest moves for her game, but it's good now that she is taking control of the game and trying to make votes on what betters her situation. And she did. She made a vote that bettered her situation.
That rat woke her up.
For sure. What?
The rat ran across her mouth.
Oh, yeah. No, it was a bug.
No, it was a rat.
Oh, it was a rat. Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, there's a lot of Survivor to process. So Missy goes home. We knew this. Just real quick, Missy did bring up what?
Go ahead. I got another Survivor tip after this. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, the last thing I want to touch on with this tribal is that Missy really did bring up a good point in that the previous tribal, 2 African Americans at the same time had one immunity, and she brings up the conversation of representation, which is a very important conversation too. And I think the great thing about Survivor is that there are so many people, so many different people who come onto the show, and truly anything is possible.
Absolutely.
And I like the fact that she brought this up because I think amongst everything that happened last episode, it was something that probably had gone unnoticed. But I do respect and like that she brought that up because it's true. We like to see that anything is possible.
100%. Yeah. I was going to say, sorry, the last comment on this, Mike's Survivor tip, okay, if you ever get into one of these situations, you do not want to do what Elizabeth did. The amazing show of emotion that Aaron was voted out. Not smart. Giving away way too much information. I think if you find out that you're going on Survivor, you need to take some acting classes because you really need to be stone-faced, especially for something like Aaron going home, okay, now being on the jury. He can know that you're upset. And the way to do that is exactly what she did on the way out. Mouthing just a little bit, I love you, right? Or like something like that. Little secret communication maybe, which is borderline talking to the jury, but not this like, he was my number one, right? Oh, okay.
I agree.
Maybe someone else thought they were Elizabeth's number one. It's just not a good look.
I agree. She needed to not be so visual, but it's hard to kind of keep things in check when you are there, which kind of leads into the news that we have today.
Go ahead.
News.
Hey.
TV news.
Okay.
Joshua.
Okay, everyone. So obviously we know a lot happened on last week's Survivor, and just to kind of touch base on with, the contestants and after some reflection and trying to put some final comments on last week's episode, a lot of the contestants did speak out, expressing their sincerest apologies for the behavior. Aaron on Twitter sent out a video. Elizabeth and Missy wrote their apologies as well. And I can respect a sincere apology because after some reflection, there is that sense of the game where they are going on very little knowledge. Even what we saw probably isn't the whole truth. And
definitely not the whole truth.
Definitely not the whole truth. And even contestants who, you know, were speaking up, like Janet even said that.
Sure.
Like, there are things that we didn't see.
Like we said when we were watching this, because obviously I wasn't here, so you and I caught up. We talked all about last week. I thought you guys did an amazing job with the recap episode. Very, very thorough. I really agreed with what you guys were saying. We at home see 1 out of 72 hours of what goes on. So there's a ton of stuff that we don't see. And I agree with what they're saying.
Yeah, I think after everything that's happened, after allowing some time for reflection on them, for us as viewers, some reflection, now is the time to kind of move forward with proper education, to know how to better handle something like this in the future, should we ever come across it. And I think, you know, it's a time to start the healing process for anyone who felt very hurt by the situation.
Sure.
And that's kind of my final comments.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now let's
totally makes
go
sense.
into our special segment.
Ooh.
We're going to name our MVP. All right. We got to vote for Karishma. And then we got to vote for Elaine.
One of those handwritings is nicer than the other.
Obviously. It's mine. I have nicer handwriting. Why
true.
did you vote Elaine?
Because I love Elaine. I don't think she can do any wrong. And it's a small, but I think significant. Elaine, at least in her mind, backstabbed Missy.
Yeah.
But Missy goes out still semi-hugging Elaine and somewhat laughing. If I'm looking at it in the brightest way possible, I like to think that Missy respects that move by Elaine, and it won't be detrimental to her if Elaine makes it to the final tribal. And that's the way to play the game, having people that you send out still respect you. And I love her. she won immunity.
And she won immunity.
I'm so glad she's on my fantasy. From almost day one, I've been Team Elaine.
I do really enjoy Elaine as well. I obviously voted for, there's only 2 votes here. I voted for Karishma just because, you know, Karishma, it took her time to find her place in this game. It took her time to figure out the game, but I think now she is truly trying to make moves that benefit her, and I like how she stood up and really took this time and made this move for herself. She's like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make a move, and I respect that.
Next week's gonna be big for her. Let's see what she does with it now.
Let's see what she does. All right, everyone, we unfortunately don't have time for predictions, but we will talk about our predictions in the comments, and we can also talk about them on social media. Mike, where can the fans find you on social media?
Guys, glad to be back this week. However, quick update, we will not be here next week. We will be celebrating Thanksgiving, and AfterBuzz will be closed, but we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody in the chat. Nathan Raven, Slows, Pop, Thomas, Michael, Chels, Michael B, Meg Blue Shift Eyes, Sheena, Eric, all our normal friends. My name is Mike Thieling. You find me everywhere at Mike Thieling.
And just to go off of Mike's announcement, when we come back, we will be covering the next 2 episodes, so we are not skipping an episode. You'll get all of your Survivor coverage. I'm Veronica Valencia. You find me on Twitter and Instagram at It's Me, Veronica_V. Thank you so much, Tribe Mates, for joining us. We will see you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.